All right, what is up, guys? Kane's Guru back with another video. My name is Harry, and I'm going to be going over a topic that is pretty near and dear to me, that I'm really passionate about, and that is preventing hair loss and hair regrowth. So in today's video, honestly, all I'm going to be doing is I've been doing extensive research on this topic and gone through and done the heavy lifting to find pretty much all the heavy hitters in terms of what you can do in a regimen to stop your hair loss. Mainly, that's really what you are going for, because more prevention is like less headache in the future. But if you're already in your like a lot of hair loss, then this will slow and stop that, and hopefully you're a candidate for regrowth. So this video is really only going to deal with the type of hair loss called androgen-induced alopecia. So what androgen-induced alopecia is there are hormones in your body which are androgenic. The main one that people know about is testosterone. So you have androgen receptors in your body, and anything that is androgenic is going to bind to those receptors with different affinities. You convert testosterone by the 5-alpha reductase enzyme to a molecule called dihydrotestosterone, which we abbreviate as DHT. So DHT is way more androgenic than testosterone. So that's actually the main hormone in your body that is going to be causing the hair loss that you're having right now. First off, you need to figure out what your DHT levels are. And by doing that, you're going to want to measure your total and your free DHT levels. I'm going to throw up here the type of test that you're going to want to order, because there is a right one and there's a wrong one. Um, the wrong one will give you an inaccurate measurement of your DHT, which could potentially cause you to, still induce hair loss while you otherwise are thinking that your DHT is in check. So you ideally want your DHT to be below the reference range. And the way you're going to do that is through our first item, finasteride. So you've probably heard of finasteride. Finasteride is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. So it's going to bind to the 5-alpha reductase enzyme that would have interacted with the testosterone that is floating freely in your body. And it's going to inhibit it to, interact with the testosterone, which then directly decreases your blood serum concentration of DHT, since now you're not having as much testosterone interact with it as you would before. And that's like your bread and butter, and then the rest are like toppings. Like pretty much all of these things you can do that I'm going to list out today, but if you're not using finasteride, then or some other way of decreasing DHT. Now, you could use dutasteride. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anybody. I don't think anybody is a candidate for dutasteride, which is a much stronger version of finasteride. Like, it's just side effects in a pill, honestly. And a lot of what you need could be achieved through finasteride, and actually a lot lower. So let's talk about the dose real quick. You're probably, if you get prescribed finasteride, you're going to be prescribed 1 milligram per day. I think this is actually too much. So studies indicate that a dose of 0.25 milligrams, which is 1/4 of the standard dose, is able to decrease serum concentrations of DHT by 45 to 50%. Now, I wasn't able to find on this study, and I'm going to link all these studies below, what type of test they were using to determine that DHT level, but take that at face value. While a 1 milligram dose, now keep in mind this is 4 times as much, so you'd expect 4 times the results, right? No. Really, a 1 milligram dose is usually up to 65%, 70% in DHT levels. So, and that 50%, if you can half your DHT and get away with it, and by getting away with it, I mean have your androgen-induced alopecia stop, and now, you're putting your hair in a state where it can actually regrow. It's no longer being attacked by the androgen that you just inhibited. But you're also, not crushing it to a level to where you're going to run into a lot of the side effects. And that, brings you to the point of, a lot of people discuss finasteride and are understandably pretty scared of it. I was pretty scared of it before I, actually did my research. So most of the people that are going to run into post-finasteride syndrome, and the reason I say that in quotation marks is because it's not actually a medically recognized term. And, you know, but that doesn't mean that people that have post-finasteride syndrome aren't, you know, having the side effects that they're talking about. They very much are, but I don't actually think that it is part of the drug itself, but rather the misuse of the drug. So what I mean by that is instead of starting with a lower dose, you immediately start with 1 milligram, which might lower your DHT levels down to a level to which you lose function of certain parts, or you lose the function that it would have been enacting in your body. Because DHT is not just this, you know, uh, like demon in your body. It actually does stuff. It is the, pretty much the masculinizing hormone. It is responsible in conjunction with your estradiol levels to your, sexual health and mental drive. A lot of your mental stimulation comes from DHT. So if you think about it, if you can get away with just, halving it, and then you still have, your good mental quality, good sexual health, then you should do that instead of just instantly going to, a 1 milligram of finasteride or more, or even using dutasteride, which can crush your levels down to 90% of what they would have been, or cut your levels by 90%. Like for me, that just, makes more sense. I use 0.25 a day. I've even seen people get away with as low as 0.25 every other day. Now, I don't know what the numbers would be like for that, but if you can get away with that, then you can get away with that. I would just start with 0.25 a day and assess your levels maybe every 3 or 4 weeks. And if they're not in a favorable way, then, titrate up. And if you titrate up and you're experiencing side effects, then you can titrate down in between those doses that you've already, um, figured out what your levels are on that dose. And our second item of the day is probably even more known, maybe, minoxidil. This is a 5% solution. Hopefully that can, boom, this one's from Keeps. You can actually buy these in bulk. I buy them 3 at a time. Each one should last you about a month, I'm pretty sure. So, 3 months at a time, pretty good. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting this on your scalp, not your hair, not your hair, your scalp. I see some people, or I've talked to some people that say that minoxidil doesn't work, and I ask them, like, how they're doing it, and they just like spread it all over their hair. It's not going to work as well if you're spreading it on your hair. You need to actually get the dropper down into the scalp and then massage it into the scalp. And it's good to be using a scalp scrubber with that. I don't have that right here with me. That's not really one of my main items I want to talk about, but a scalp scrubber can help, and get anything down into your scalp that you need. And with minoxidil, minoxidil is going to, so I'm going to throw up a picture of the hair cycle. Essentially, your hair is, if you're in, if you're a candidate for androgen-induced alopecia, that means that your hair is currently in the shedding cycle. So what this chemical is going to do is it's going to trick your hair into the regrowth cycle. I'm going to have these scientific terms here again. And that's going to, like I said, trick your hair into regrowth. Now, you can't just trick your hair into regrowth if it's still being bombarded with the nuke that is DHT, which is exactly why I'm saying this is your bread and butter, and the next few things are going to be your toppings. So minoxidil is pretty simple, but one thing that is often overlooked, and I'm going to throw up studies about this. Again, I'm going to have all these studies linked. But one thing, or two things, I guess, that can like drastically improve your minoxidil results is microneedling. And the reason I said two things is because you could use a derma roller. I have both. This is a microneedling pen from Intelligent Elephant. I will hopefully have a link to it. This is $100, and I know that might sound like $100, But dude, do you know how much a hair transplant is? Like, dude, this and a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, I don't want to stick a needle in my hair." Dude, if you don't want to go through these things, then like I don't know what to tell you. Like this is the tried and true, tested methods into getting your hair back. And if you can't handle the pain, you can work up. That's the beauty of this one. You can start as low as like in between, lower than 0.25 might is it I don't know what it's measured in. It's millimeters, I think. 0.25 millimeters all the way up to 1.5, oh actually no, 2.5 millimeters. So work your way up, and what you're going to do is you're going to be using this 2 times a week. So like put like 3 days or 4 days in between each one and alternate that. And these two work in conjunction so well. What you're going to do is on the 2 days, now you're going to use this every day, twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. But in the afternoon, that's usually when I do my microneedling twice a week, is you're gonna microneedle first, boom, spread this all around your hair, get those, get the needling done, and then you're gonna put your minoxidil on. There has been studies, again, I'll have them in the description. There's been studies that show that you can like X times your results with minoxidil just by doing some microneedling, and alternatively derma rolling. Now derma rolling is going to be hard, it's going to catch in your hair, and I don't know any derma rollers that really get to the precision of this. Not to mention a derma roller is reliant on your pressure. So think about it like that. If you're a pussy and you don't want to be pushing really hard, or you just don't want the physical exert, I don't want to be doing this like all over my scalp. I've got thick hair. This, you don't have to use any pressure. The pen itself is going to be digging the needle into your head. So all you need to do is just glide over, and then you know that you're not favoring any spots, or you're overdoing or underdoing any spot. This pen is going to do that for you. So that's microneedling. And the next thing is going to be a good shampoo. So first off, if you're shampooing every day, that's not good. Your hair is very sensitive. Uh, Obviously, it's falling out. So what a ketoconazole shampoo is going to do, and I would recommend using this. Start with like twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. And ketoconazole shampoo, this one's also from Intelligent Elephant. Um, Ketoconazole is a anti-androgen. So it is you're going to scrub this into your scalp, not your hair, your scalp. You're going to leave it in there for like 5 minutes in the shower. And then you're going to, rinse it off. And it's going to absorb into your scalp and topically, inhibit androgens from binding to the androgen receptor. Now, is it super effective? It's hard for me to tell. I think that if you're, in it for maximum prevention, it's definitely a necessity. But I think that you can really get away with ketoconazole. But either way, getting a high quality shampoo is good because this is free of all the really toxic chemicals, and this also comes with a lot of other good oils, which are good for your hair. And that brings me to the next thing, which are oils. Now, this is more of I wouldn't call it essential, but it's another thing that if you're in it to win it, might as well do everything. This is really cheap. I got this for like $10 on Amazon, and this lasted me a super long time before I had to refill it. Like I'm talking like multiple months. Like you could probably get, and I have thick hair. You could probably get away with getting like maybe spending $30 a year on stuff like this. What this is rosemary oil. Now this has a bunch of other oils in it, but rosemary is the main one. Rosemary in conjunction with minoxidil is a great combination. You can do that at the same time. It is pretty oily, so I wouldn't do it twice a day. You could do it twice a day. I've done it twice a day, but I do, kind of sometimes it'll seep down on your scalp and make your forehead look super shiny. So it's not like favorable, and it can ruin your hair texture. So I would say that that's not the most important one. The next one I want to talk about is I don't have it here in front of me, but I'm going to be talking about egg yolks. So alternatively, And this would be, you could use both this and egg yolks, but I have this shampoo, but I've just been using egg yolks. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 eggs and separate the whites from the yolks. You can use 1 egg, I use two. You're gonna take your 2 yolks. You can put your rosemary oil in the yolks, put a milliliter in there, and then put a little dash of olive oil, and then you're gonna mix that up, and you're gonna take it into the shower with you. And keep in mind, on the days, and once again, twice a week, I would do this. On the days that you choose to do this, make sure that you have a good chunk of time. Like this is not something that you can just like if you having to rush to practice in the morning like I used to, then this is not the time. That's not the day to do this. You need about I'd say like 15 minutes. So what you're gonna do is and go into the shower. Make sure you're using warm water, but not hot water. Like, don't use super, super hot water. I know you might like it, but you can literally cook the egg in your scalp, and then it's a fucking nightmare to get rid of. So, you're going to get in the shower, warm water, again, not a hot water, and then you're going to massage the egg yolks into your hair. Make sure that you're kind of like cupping the sides so it doesn't run down your face. You want it to get in the hair, and once it's in the hair, it's going to stay there. You're going to massage that into the scalp, and you're going to leave that for 12 minutes. Take your phone in there and like put it in a caddy attached to the shower head or just like on the side somewhere, and set a timer, and then slowly and gently rinse it out. And you can use, your conditioners with any of these things. I would just make sure you put in, if you're doing a leave-in conditioner, make sure to, you know, use the conditioner after you've rinsed out the ketoconazole shampoo or the egg yolks that we just talked about. So egg yolks are actually really, really, really good for your hair. Even if you're not having hair loss, it can just drastically improve your hair quality. I'll probably throw up a study here about it. Yeah, like it sounds far fetched. You're like, dude, you're fucking putting egg yolks in your hair, but if you want to keep your hair, you're gonna have to do this. Either you try all this shit and it fails, which I can pretty much guarantee you it won't, or you lose your hair anyway if you don't do anything. So if you have the money to spend and you're willing to go the extra mile, do the thing. And that's actually going to bring me into my last major item. Boom, a satin or silk bonnet. Uh, so in your sleep and when using towels, rubbing in your hair or your, you rubbing your hair against your pillow during the night, you can induce a lot of stress into your or onto your hair, which obviously exacerbates the already caused hair loss. So what this is going to do is it's going to protect your hair from that nighttime chaos. And that's also to say that when you're drying your hair, I would let it hair dry. Don't use a towel and vigorously scrub it. What you can do is blot. So like imagine I have a towel with me. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to slightly squeeze in different sections of my hair, making sure not to pull any hair when I'm doing it. This is going to just again minimize the stress caused to your hair. Like anything that you can do to basically coddle your hair is what you got to do. This is a pretty simple item, pretty cheap. I would make sure to spend a few extra bucks to make sure you're getting a high quality one. I think this one was like 13 bucks, pretty well recommended. Again, that's like a super simple item that, just like get it and forget about it, or don't like actually forget about it. Use it, but you're not even gonna notice it after a couple of days. And as for like, does it affect your sleep? Like, I don't even feel it. Like honestly, and I actually think I sleep better with it because I'm no longer having to like feel my hair being pulled. That's an issue that I've always had to deal with, and those are pretty much the main items. Now I'm going to be going over just a few extra little tidbits. This is just extra information, and these are not anything that's heavy hitting, but they're, a few things that you can do to further increase your hair protocol. So the first thing would be to lower your stress. So you can actually measure your stress levels through blood tests. Have that up here. And a lot of what the stress in your body is coming from is probably either poor sleep, overuse of stimulants such as caffeine. Like if you're a stim junkie in the gym, which I know that a lot of people that are in the, scene for hair loss are probably gym goers, just coincidentally. Um, you know, you're a stim junkie, that could be actually negatively impacting your hair. And the last thing would be just hydration. So these things, lowering your caffeine, getting good sleeping, getting hydration. And honestly, with excluding the caffeine, getting good sleep and hydration will help you with everything in your life. Like, let's go like line by line. Like, what does being hydrated and sleeping well do for you? It improves your muscle gain, it improves your quality of life, it improves your skin quality, improves your mental quality, improves your sex life. It literally improves everything about you. So, like, if this is not the fire to be lit under your ass about, getting hydrated and getting good sleep, and the way you're going to do that is, obviously, or not obviously, but I feel like a lot of people know this. You're going to want to reduce blue light at least an hour before your, scheduled time to sleep. You're going to want to do something that's de-winding, such as reading a physical book, not just listening to an audiobook, taking the time to physically read. Make sure that you have ample exercise during your day. Like if you obviously on a rest day, you shouldn't be doing anything, but if you're, living a very sedentary life, that can pretty much negatively impact your health because, you're not exerting any uh, you know, energy, well, not any energy, but you're not exerting a lot of energy during your day. So you still have that energy going into the nighttime, which is not ideal. And you're going to want to get blackout curtains. Uh, you know, Light is not good for you while you sleep. Usually, our body is programmed to literally sense the light that's coming in, and that is our stimulus for waking up. When light hits the body, it produces cortisol to wake you up in the morning, which is why light exposure in the morning is very good for your health because it can naturally reset the internal clock in your body. But another thing that's often overlooked is if you're in a room with computers, like I used to sleep with my computer pretty much right next to me, I would put a towel over it because the GPU would have a light on during its sleep mode. And I didn't want to have to fully turn it off. And I would put tape on the bottom of my monitors that have that blinking light, though, just like the running light while it's sleeping. Those things might seem minor, but they actually do very much impact your sleep, which was negatively impacting your hair if you're having bad sleep. And that's really pretty much it. Again, all the links will be in the bio, hopefully, for these research papers that that I talked about. And leave any questions. And if I missed something or misrepresented anything, feel free to call me out. But that's pretty much my regimen, and I can pretty much guarantee you, if you do this, you will not only just you will 100% guaranteed decrease your hair loss, if not stop it completely. And then it's really based on genetics and how severe your hair loss already is to see if you can actually regrow any of it. Like if you're if your skin bald on the top, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I wouldn't do any of this because it's already over for you. Just go to Turkey and get a hair transplant. But if you're in the early stages, I'll actually throw a picture up of the stages so you can guys see, where you might be. I'd also look this up and do some good research on, your hair and your specific, case, because everyone's case by case and everyone interacts with these, different things differently. But yeah, that's literally it. I still in this shitty setup, but I'm still producing videos and really enjoying this. Follow me on Insta in the bio, and that's all I really got. Stay swole, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.